Absolutely, indeed. Good morning, Sam. Thank you very much for a lovely introduction. I wasn't too sure if you were clicking all the buttons to get me in there, but hopefully you folks can hear me
Yeah.
and we're here. And yeah, just absolutely here to talk about music careers and what we do here at Access Creative College. My name's Steve Roberts. I'm one of the tutors of artist development, music performance, and vocal artists here at Access Creative College in Bristol. And I'm going to be here to guide you through some information about our courses, the destinations that you might consider, as well as being a performer within the music industry for about the next 30 minutes or so. And we will go through and get some testimonials from some of our staff, including myself, as well as just some general information from our students and looking at the wider careers as well. So essentially, Sam, if I can get you to move on to the next slide, just a little bit about who we are and what we do. Um, as a college, we specialise in the creative subjects, and I've worked with the company for about 3 years. And before that, my interest at school was always very much in the creatives. I was a keen drama student. I was very interested in music, but wasn't really doing music at the time. And I was also really interested in art. And if I'd had the opportunity at 16 to go into and just say, you're going to focus in on your key specialism, I'd have kind of jumped at the chance just to spend about 15 hours a week really, really looking into it. So we're a specialist creative educational college. We're national, and we've got 7 centres across the country, including Bristol, Manchester, London, Plymouth, Birmingham, Lincoln, and Norwich. And we are looking at not just at music, but we also do courses on games, games art, games design, VFX and animation, esports. I know John has talked about T levels as well just now. And we specialised in programs for 16 to 18-year-olds and adult learners as well who are looking to re-engage with education, upskill, and then potentially go on to do a music course. We're industry connected. We pride ourselves on being able to kind of bring in experts to discuss with our students their own real kind of experience. I'm very, very lucky to work with Kev, who's one of the singers from the Streets for a couple of years. And he often comes in to talk about his live experiences and being a singer and touring the world, as well as when we can, getting in some really top people from across the industry. So we've had festival promoters, we've had DJs and producers, we've had singer-songwriters, but equally, the industry is bigger than that. It's not just about being on stage. And one of the good things about some of the courses that I'll explain to you folks as we go through is just the kind of the content and the ideas and things that you'll get to explore and how the courses prepare you for your next steps, wherever that might be. So it's that creative career focus in mind that we want you to have the whole experience, that you're prepared for everywhere that the music industry could go and where it's going. And it's a really interesting time in the music industry at the moment with the development of AI and considering how some scenes are growing and some are kind of shrinking slightly. And talking to professionals that they feel that things are in a good place in some areas and not in others. So it's about being flexible. It's about problem solving. It's about being able to approach things and to do things in a creative way. And the creative side of things is what I'm really interested in as a practitioner here. Um, and so, again, with those industry links, we work with bigger names like Fnatic, Renderman, Latitude Festival, Condense, and Young Minds Creative as just as some of them. I mean, in Bristol, we work with lots of the local venues. We try and do outreach with sort of neighbouring festivals as well, and give students the opportunity to work within artist liaison, back of house, front of house, working as crew. All of those things are really, really valuable. And really, what we'll do in a little bit later is talk about some of our alumni. And before going on to jump on this call, it was interesting to see some of the support slots that students that we've had here are now often doing. It's really, really exciting to see. So, what are our courses like? Sam, if you could move on to the next bit. Thank you very much. So we offer a range of courses for a range of abilities. Really, what we're wanting to do is make sure that you're pushed at every kind of step where you join us, that we're not necessarily just kind of going through the same things over and over again. And actually, what we want to make sure is that all of you have got the chance for success, and all of you have the opportunity to specialize in a particular area. So we divide our courses into kind of three general categories to kind of give it. We've got music performance, which is kind of geared towards those of you who are instrumentalists, so drummers, guitarists. We've had some violin players and keen pianists over the years. Music performance courses are for you. For those of you who are very much focused on singing and your singing practice, potentially more of a solo artist, we have our vocal artist courses. And with those, you're doing very similar things in terms of the industry kind of topics, which I'll talk through in a moment, as all of the other topics. And then we've got our music production slash music tech. So this is for those of you who are potentially looking to create music as a producer, whether that's using software on a computer or working on one of the studios, like you can see behind me, recording artists, generally learning a bit more about the mixing and the mastering process. But all of these courses include details around the music industry, the wider music industry. So during all of the courses, we will expand and show for you in a similar thing that I'm going to share with you in just a moment about the different pathways that could exist. So you'll have some dedicated time each week into researching what's out there, who are the current local guitar tutors that you could be thinking of becoming in future. Who is your competition? What are they doing? What good practice can you see them? What social media are they using to promote themselves and to reach their target audience? As a performer, what are the sub kind of like, not the side hustles, but yeah, the side hustles of being a potentially, maybe you're in a band, but you're looking to supplement yourself from your weekend gigs, going into teaching as a daily rate, knowing how much you could be charging um, on a daily basis, thinking what equipment would you need in order to run that, and also then potentially looking at working within venues. Could you start off by working potentially on a bar at one, starting off on lowly level of pouring drinks at one age, and then suddenly, you're behind a lighting desk moving through that. Next thing you know, you're doing sound. One of the members in my band, very, very luckily, has now been picked up for several national and international bands. And in between his job of running a venue, he's now getting paid a daily rate to go to venues, set up a band, make them sound absolutely enormous, and then pack down and go to the next place. And he loves that. He really, really loves that. So it's about that awareness of what those pathways are. So we have a level 2 provision, which is a year long, and it gives you the equivalent of 4 GCSEs at the end of it. And you would just be studying music performance and vocal artistry or music production. And within that, you would be organizing your own event as part of the course, that there is a key composition project that you'll be designing and making your own music. You'll also have the chance to reflect on your journey, like who are your influences, what are the kind of like the main factors that make you enjoy the music that you enjoy. And so our level 2 course is highly kind of desirable, and is also a fantastic stepping stone into our level 3 courses. So our level 3 courses are 2 years long, and they can be in vocal artistry, music production, or music performance. They need 4 GCSEs at grade 4 or above, including English or maths. And these are a bit more specialized, but again, you'd be doing some work around creating your CV, updating it, and kind of considering different career paths that you could be going on to, as well as doing several live performances in the performance and the vocal artistry piece. And in the production side of things, really working on creating your own kind of like compositions, your own remixes, and learning a bit more about the sound crafting process, about creating your own instruments, not just about finding samples and creating beats that way, but going out and recording and shaping it and learning how that can also be something that you can use to potentially sustain you during your music career. After those 2 years, the other option that we have for some of our adult learners is our artist development course, which is something I've led on here in Bristol for the last 3 years. The AD4 course, as it's commonly known, is really, it's kind of like the first year in your music career. It's very much a hyper-focused 1 year intensive course which encourages you to reflect on your journey, to look at your current understanding, and then to create an action plan, which culminates in an end of year showcase event that you will design and curate. It's very, very individually kind of designed, and we're here as staff to kind of support you folks through all of your decision making and your explorations. And really, the big kind of message here is that in all of the courses, we encourage you to try different things, that you will do different versions, that you will plan, execute, and then reflect on your success or your failures. Either way, they are so, so vital in order for you to develop. So, where can our courses take you? Sam, get the next slide, please. The careers within music they're enormous and they're varied, and my journey here has been a kind of a spaghetti junction, kind of wibbly wobbly line to get there. It's not been a straight path. I've came through as a teacher first, and then as a music teacher second, mainly based on my experience as a performer. So within performance and creation, you could decide to go through a solo artist, that you've got a particular vision that you're hoping to execute, that you are going to be a solo musician, like some of the alumni that I'll mention shortly. It could be that rather than being the person that you want to be on stage and having all the limelight on you, that maybe you're potentially going to be a session musician, somebody who is reliably turning up and producing incredible performances on record, that you can sit back and collect the royalties on for years to come. Equally, being a session musician, it allows you to put your own flavor and spin on things for artists that you may never know that you could be potentially working for. Wonderful friend of mine, uh, working as a session musician, was picked up to go on tour with Idols for their American tour, whilst their guitarist was out on maternity leave. Is probably the best way of putting it. And she had an amazing time. And part of that was her confidence in learning songs quickly, performing well, and going out there. You might want to become an accomplished songwriter, and looking to kind of again be behind the scenes, writing music for other people, writing lyrics for people as well. And then there's obviously the composition side of things. You can compose. You could be a producer, somebody who is making the music for the artists. That you've got a singer who's got an incredible voice, but you could be the person who's creating that sonic palette for them to lay their work over. And then finally, there's DJ, and with the some of the other music courses that we offer, potentially the pathway of being a DJ is fantastic. We've had several of our staff here at Access go on to be absolutely successful DJs. So Badger, who is doing big guns and did an amazing remix of some of the Venga Boys, and Natasha Bedingfield is now a Glastonbury headlining artist, and we've been really, really lucky for him to pop back and speak to our Bristol students from time to time. Within the studio and production side, you could focus on being a mixing and mastering engineer, the person who takes the raw audio and creates an incredible piece of music out of it. It's a wonderful job for those of you who want to kind of work remotely. It allows you to set up and build a professional base, and again, allows you to kind of build a roster of artists and success for you to be picked up with more, successful artists as you go through and your work is recognized. It could be that you want to become a sound designer, which is somebody who's obviously that could involve Foley, that could involve, again, looking to the next section, which is about music for media, creating sound effects, working on a film, looking to try and sculpt things to make things sound unusual, like taking an elephant and a bear and mixing them together to create a T-Rex. I think it's the kind of couple of animals they used for Jurassic Park, for example. And working in film and TV and composition is an area which is increasingly growing. So we, in our second year for our performance and our music production, we do a music for media unit where you will make music for an excerpt from a film to practice this and to build your portfolio. So one of the important things to know is that although these are the pathways, all of our courses prepare you for any of these pathways. So all of them have the information and open the door to each of these things, and you get to explore and see which of these things would be the best for you. There's music business and promotion. You might want to decide to be a manager and go out on tour with a band and make sure that they're turning up on time, that their dressing room is safe, that they've got their bowl of M&Ms ready to go. You might want to work as artist and artist relations, working potentially in artist liaison, welcoming artists to venues, welcome them to festivals, making sure again they've got what they need. On the other side, you could go into being a booking agent, the real kind of like door holders for the industry, the people that if you are a band, you want to have one, and if you are a person who puts on an event, you want to have a good relationship with them. So a booking agent is somebody who will get bands gigs and get them the best price for it. The recent Download announcement, for example, which has several huge bands on it, there are several booking agents who would represent a lot of the headliners and a lot of the mid-tier and lower tier bands. So it's about creating a roster, and you can really specialize in the genres that you're interested in. You might want to work as a record label exec, promoting bands, making sure that their records, their physical vinyl, CDs, tapes, whatever your kind of genre specializes in, is reaching the audiences. It's going to the best destination for them. You might want to go on to the other side of PR and social media, making sure that bands are representing themselves in the best way, that they're able to not only satisfy their fans, but reach those new audiences. You could do what I've done, which is to move into education. So being a music teacher is a stable job. You get to pass on your knowledge to lots of new enthusiastic young people. Hopefully some of you might be here in Bristol with me. You could go into music therapy, looking at the therapeutic side of things, to use music to allow people to express themselves, to basically to heal through the production of music. And as well as legal and admin, looking at law, looking at pot royalties, all of this stuff is covered in our courses. And as you can see, there's quite a lot there. So I'm conscious of time because I've already been banging on for about 17 minutes. So if we can have a look at some of our alumni, I'll just pick out some of the key names. So some of the interesting ones that we're looking here, Ed Sheeran is the one that jumps out. Ed Sheeran did our AD4 course a few years ago, I think back in 2012, and is now actually I forget what the name of it is. He is our patron, so he's the person who represents us. But we've got Jess Glynn, Rita Ora is an alumni, Let's Eat Grandma, and Amy Love from Nova Twins is a big kind of name on there. I was having a look at some of the other names, and Nyolfa Yanya is from one of the Norwich centres, and she's playing at the O2 next week in London, which is wild, and then off to Mexico City. So she's the main support for Lord's upcoming world tour, which is bonkers. And I think it just shows to show that people that were here learning and practicing their craft in a kind of a safe, supportive environment have gone on to do some really wonderful things. So on the next slide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass you over to me for a little bit of a talk about why creativity is important. To use different techniques that they've maybe been excited by over the years and tried to bring into their own practice. It's something that you can go down the rabbit hole with. You can really invest your time to become not only better at your craft, but to consider and look at the pathway that lays ahead of you by looking what's behind you.
I think music in itself fosters creativity in the way that it makes you inquisitive, it makes you want to try new things, and it makes you want to experiment. I think the role of independence within that is all of those skills can directly relate to life as well as just a vocational skill as music. You can become inquisitive in life, which means you might want to learn new things, you might want to try new things, which overall kind of fosters this creative mindset and allows you to progress and explore different things.
I like to encourage students to get things wrong. You're never going to kind of get there first time, and with music, it's something that you will only get better at by failing over and over and over again. One of the best things about music is that if you're the person who's the weakest in the room, ability-wise, you're learning way more than you think. And if you find that you are the most able in the room, it's time to start looking for and to look for people to push you even further, which should make you feel confident.
I think the most important thing is to let them feel like they can express themselves as students and as young people. I encourage in my sessions with students a variety of different musical avenues to want to explore. I think part of the curriculum that we offer, it encourages you to try different things. So that could be something such as music for film, it could be experimenting with technology, it could be experimenting with collaboration, working behind the decks as something like a mix engineer or a recording engineer. I guess the most important thing is for a student to want to express themselves and try new things. I think another really cool thing about Access is the way in which we kind of foster collaboration. And that's not just collaboration within the music courses, that's across the board in different cohorts. We have students that do film and photography, and we have students that do games design. And all of these various creative subjects, they foster the ability to be able to cross-pollinate with people from different industries, which again is a skill that they can take forward in later life.
I really enjoy looking at practical, tangible examples for this, that you find music that you're excited about and then take it apart. It then allows you to take those ideas and to encourage students to form their own. So when you're talking about musical skills and musical theory, it's about knowing what the rules are so then you can encourage them to break it, that you can take things, look at it from a different angle, try things out, and again, just have some fun with it.
Yeah, there's different types of thinking within creativity and within music and within learning. You have divergent thinkers who tend to be more logical and swing towards things such as music theory, and then we have our non-divergent learners who kind of express themselves more creatively. So I think it's important to, on a student's musical journey, to figure out what type of learner you are and to hone in on those skills. I don't think that being a music theory expert is essential to being an amazing musician. I don't even think a vast amount of technical knowledge is necessarily the most important thing. An artist or producer that I always refer to is someone called Rick Rubin. He has zero technical knowledge of mixing desks or production tools, but he has an ear for music and he has an idea about a project's potential. And I think sometimes having someone in the room in any kind of creative setting who offers a different way of thinking and a different mindset can be incredibly beneficial to the project overall.
A fantastic example of something we do here at Access is the Collaborative Project. It's a second year exhibition that all music students have to do, and it's really an opportunity for students to go and pick something that they want to achieve, and it can be everything from just a simple single release to bigger projects like an LP. So the best examples we've seen of this is where students are able to host all of their peers all day long with a record kind of listening party, gather loads of feedback, and just generally take the steps forward to do something and really realise their potential at both creating a piece but advertising it, getting people excited about it. And I think one students group last year, they did a recent single which just reached 3,000 listens on Spotify, which is absolutely fantastic for a completely student-led piece of work.
One lesson in particular that I think really brings out a student's creative potential would be our Music for Multimedia project. This is an opportunity that was particularly valuable to me because it was one of the skills that I learned at college that I was able to take forward and actually get some industry work. So the idea of the subject itself is to create a piece of music to a visual medium. Now that can be something from a film, it can be something from a television series, or it can be something for a game. And it's using your production skills to put a piece of music to another piece of media. Now, I learned this when I was a student at Access over 10 years ago, and it actually led to me getting some work with Channel 4, and I scored an original film. And it was the skills that I learned in those sessions that allowed me to be able to fulfill that project and get more work from it. So I think that's a really important one if we're looking at the music industry and the creative industries and we're thinking about how students can actually access work opportunities.
I think we do a really good job of getting students kind of on the baseline and ultimately being able to see the destinations in which they can go, that they can take their skills and
become independent music practitioners, that they could go on to higher education to explore an area of particular focus, whether that be business or performance, but also knowing what's a bit beyond just the kind of confines of our city, that, you know, we do a very good job of establishing what the creative opportunities are here, but looking outside and realizing that they're not just limited to the geography, but they are able to access a much wider world.
I think the current provision supports our students really well, depending on what they want to go and do after college. We have direct avenues to universities. We also have level 4 courses which offer students the opportunity to go and study an extra year beyond college so they can develop themselves before they go on to their next steps. I'm not just talking about the specialist skills, including being able to produce a piece of music or use a piece of software. I'm talking about the harder skills, you know, being organized, being able to get to a session on time, being able to communicate with other people. I think we support students really well on deciding what they want to do after college and after they study us here.
Okay, a bunch of legends, not but tooting my own horn. Just conscious of time, if it's okay, Sam, if we skip what would have been an example of one of our lessons, and I don't think we've quite got time for the student talk either, which I'm very, very sorry of. But as Sam said, we've got some incredible courses for you, and the destinations are kind of only limited by yourself. So, in order to make sure you folks have got a quick break, please do, if you're interested and want to kind of talk to us, visit a centre and have a go at some of the equipment, meet the tutors, talk to some of our students in person. Please book an open day with us. There's a whole bunch coming up, so please scan the QR code there. If you've enjoyed what I've said today and you're thinking it's something that you'd like to consider potentially when you finish your GCSEs, make an application with us. We're taking applications now. They're already coming in, and we're really excited about what next year's cohort is going to be capable of. We've also got a taster day on the 18th of April. This is where you can come in to the centre, meet some of the potential peers that you'll be working with. You never know, your future bandmates might well be in there in that group. So please do book an open day, make an application, or attend a taster day. And thank you so much for your time and attention. I've really enjoyed talking to you all today.